Bobby Fischer, one of the greatest chess players to ever exist, played this game when he was just 13 years old and crushed his opponent with three consecutive brilliant moves. So the game started, his opponent was Donald Bryan, started the game with knight f3 and now a simple opening moves of the opening. And now at this position, now you can see here the black king is already castled, has not committed any pawn moves in the center. And you might wonder after playing e4 why is just black giving so much of space to white. The thing is that I will maybe go with d5 with the idea to maybe go d6, go and attack through this and maybe attack the center later in the game and try to get the control of it. So now bishop f4 is played and now d5 is played. This is actually the Grunfeld defense that this transposes the game. And now at this position queen b3 is played with the idea to simply put some pressure on the d5 pawn as well as put some pressure on the b7 pawn, so the bishop can't develop easily. So releasing the tension takes happens, and now you can see the bishop on and the queen on queen is simply attacking the pawn on c7. So to get rid of the attack, c6 is played and now the e4 is played, getting of course the control of the center. The knight moves on bd7 to try and get to b6 to try and really attack the queen, which is having a really good time there. Now rook d1 is played, simply developing the piece with the maybe the idea to go there and then simply castle. Knight b6 attacks the queen and now the queen simply moves there. Now a bishop g4 is played. Now you can see here the black has developed all of its main pieces and the white pieces is not developed his bishop. So the idea that should have white followed is to develop his bishop and then castle as soon as possible, because the king on g8 is far more safer than the king on e1. So in this position, a very bad move played by Donald Bryan, that is bishop g5. Of course, now you can see here that everything is attacked and this enables Robert James Fischer to play the first brilliant move of the game. Pause to find it out that the move is knight a4 brilliant, with the idea that once you take, I can simply take there, attacking the bishop as well as the queen, and once the queen moves there or there, it doesn't matter, I can simply take, and if you take, I can take, and if you count the material, well, both has the same materials, but black is simply crushing in this position with all these kind of ideas. I can also go on b5, kick the knight away, h6 to kick the other knight away, also attacking the pawn on d4 at the same time, and that is just a terrible position for black. If you turn on the analysis, this is actually minus 3.7. that is crazy, if like the material is equal still. So that is why white cannot actually accept the sacrifice. Queen e3 is played. The knight on c3 is actually guarding the pawn on e4 and the knight on f6 is also attacking it. So by eliminating the knight, now the pawn is left hanging and now Robert James Fischer simply takes it. Now you might wonder that the pawn on e7 is attacked now, and after takes, which happens in the game, white is simply good here because attacking the rook as well as the queen at the same time, and you can't even go for that because simply that is losing. And you might wonder what is black doing. Robert James Fischer is simply losing at this position. Maybe not, because queen b6 is played, which should be a brilliant move. Let me give it, because now the rook is attacked, but this just ignores the threat on the rook, and the idea being that if you take, I can simply take and attacking the queen, and if the queen moves back on c1 to maybe try to protect the pawn on c3, that is not actually protected because I can simply take. That is again a brilliant move, because after take I can simply go there. Now you just lose the queen. So that is why Donald Bryan did not go for takes. Of course, this is the second time that he can't actually accept the sacrifice and goes with bishop c4. Now, of course, Fischer could have played like rook e8 and get a simply good position. It is like -1 for black, but again a brilliant move played by Robert James Fischer. That is knight takes on c3. Again a very good move, with the idea being that if you take, I can go with rook e8, pinning the bishop to the king, and if you go there to simply protect it, I can simply like even take, because the queen can take or loses the protection. So after it takes, I can simply go and like just c7 and then attack it twice, and it has no way to get defended and simply losing another piece, and that is like completely winning for black here. Knight takes c3, and for the third time white cannot actually accept the sacrifice. So that is where bishop moves back on c5, attacking the queen. And now you might see here the queen is attacked, the rook, bishop, the knight is attacked, and it looks completely losing for black. Like really a very the move of the century, the best move in this position is played by Robert James Fischer. Pause the video to find it. If you find it, you are a exceptional genius for sure. Like not defending the queen, not defending the knight, but playing bishop rook e8 and then bishop on e6 with the idea that if you take, you can't take cause loses the control of this diagonal. And now queen b5 check, the king cannot move to there because this is simply mate, the king has to move there. And now knight e2 check, one of the beautiful, like so great games of the century, that is smothered mate. So with the idea that once you go there, I will give a double check, again you can't go there, with the idea that this is simply mate. So once the king goes there, now queen f1, brilliant move. Now if you take, that is just mate, that is a very great one. Knight e2 checkmate. So that is why you cannot actually take, and that leads to simple forced mate. Now bishop takes e6 doesn't work, and if you take my queen, I mean that what gets played in the game, with the idea that Donald Brand thought that let me take the queen and let's see what happens. But bishop takes c4, and now you can see here that I mean he can't go there because of the rook, so he has to go there. And now knight e2 check, the king has to go there, it is forced. And now there is a discovered check here, so whenever the knight moves anywhere, there is the check. So that is why simply takes. Once you go there, I dance my knight in this diagonals, and that is completely winning. Goes there, and now the rook is attacked. Fischer simply takes the bishop first instead of attacking the queen, and the queen moves on b4. And now protecting the bishop, like queen b4 attacks the bishop too. So protect everything up. This is protected by the bishop, by the way. So protecting everything up, also attacking the queen. The queen just takes there. And now finally James Fischer takes on d1 the rook, simply creating a here. And now you can see here James is simply up 4 points, Fischer is simply up 4 points, and that's completely winning for him, and he effortlessly converts this game. And at this position, after king f1, there is a forced mate in 5, that is knight g3 check, the king moves, bishop check, the king moves, bishop check, the king moves, the knight check, the king moves, again a knight check, the king moves. And now there are actually two mating checkmates here, that is rook c2 and then bishop a3 checkmate. Bobby Fischer opted rook c2 checkmate, and that's what happens in the game. So it is a wonderful game, and mostly of course the game of the century back in the day. So thank you so much for watching. And also another thing, that James Fischer was just 13 years old. That's like exceptional. At this age he was able to get this quality of a game. So thank you so much for watching. Also check out my other videos and maybe subscribe, because this is a small channel, it will really help. I also stream almost daily and have a Discord channel, so make sure to check out too. Links are in description.